This is the story of the SAS Ghost. Mijn sammenstellingsstrategieën som ik hou. Ik hoop dus alle team pinks de alle teams the slave.
Yes, retentive women come like that, but I said, but I said, how?
There are still many. As Stant Peter Stanley,
The conflict itself was already unstable.
The fallen region, the fractured space. I forgot her nice David.
Behind closed doors, British defense planners reached a conclusion few would ever hear about. The situation required precision, deniability, and silence. Not a battalion, not even a unit. Just one operator from the Special Air Service. The man selected was not famous within military circles, and that was precisely the point. He had spent years operating in environments
In
where
the
visibility meant
darkness
death.
of the conflict
His
zone,
experience covered desert
surveillance
reconnaissance, urban
reveals the
counterinsurgency,
quiet
and deep cover
persistence
intelligence
of
gathering.
war.
He spoke the local language fluently, understood regional customs, and knew how to move without drawing attention. Among a very small circle, he would later be referred to simply as the Ghost. There was no official deployment order, no public authorization. On record, he never left the United Kingdom. His insertion into the conflict zone was deliberately unremarkable. No helicopter, no parachute drop, no dramatic entry. He crossed borders as civilians did, blending into the background of a population already exhausted by war. From the moment he arrived, he ceased to exist as a soldier and became something else entirely. For weeks, the Ghost did nothing visible. He observed, he listened, he mapped routines and patterns that satellites could not see. He identified who truly held power, who merely appeared to, and where fear replaced loyalty. While analysts thousands of miles away debated conflicting intelligence reports, he was inside the environment itself, watching the enemy's structure from the ground up. When he finally acted, there were no explosions to announce it. Instead, small things began to change. Communication failures appeared without explanation. Senior figures missed meetings or stopped giving orders altogether. Supply convoys were delayed, redirected, or quietly abandoned. Trusted intermediaries suddenly withdrew their support, sensing instability they could not explain. Confusion spread quickly. The hostile force became suspicious of itself. Commanders accused one another of betrayal. Resources were diverted inward, away from the front lines, as paranoia took hold. The Ghost never needed to confront the enemy directly. His presence was never detected, yet its effects were everywhere. Over time, the consequences became impossible to ignore. The enemy's command structure weakened. Internal rivalries intensified. Strategic coordination collapsed. What had once seemed like a unified force began to fracture under its own weight. To the outside world, analysts described it as an unexpected breakdown. Journalists blamed logistical failures and shifting alliances. Politicians spoke cautiously about changing dynamics on the ground. No one mentioned British involvement. By the time international observers realized the conflict was de-escalating, the decisive moment had already passed. The hostile force no longer posed the same threat. The region stabilized, not through overwhelming force, but through quiet collapse. The Ghost's objective had been achieved without triggering wider war or international outrage. His departure was as unremarkable as his arrival. There was no extraction team waiting, no formal debrief in theater. He simply left, moving back across borders, shedding identities as easily as he had adopted them. When he returned home, there were no ceremonies, no commendations, no acknowledgements. The mission file was sealed, heavily redacted, and classified beyond public access. Officially, the operation never happened. That is why this story was never broadcast. Governments cannot publicly celebrate actions they refuse to acknowledge. The success of such missions depends entirely on secrecy. Recognition would undermine their purpose. And so, the Ghost faded back into anonymity, carrying knowledge of a conflict he helped end but could never discuss. Today, he lives an ordinary life. No uniform, no public record of heroism. To those around him, he is simply another face in the crowd, and that, perhaps, is the most striking part of this story. The most influential actions in modern warfare are often carried out by individuals whose names will never be known. The SS Ghost stands as a reminder that history is shaped not only by visible power, but by unseen precision. Not all victories are announced. Some are designed to remain forever in the shadows. This was the SAS Ghost, a mission that never made the news, yet changed the course of a conflict.